Hey guys, OSCO here. Gonna be making another video today on bass lines. So this genre specifically is deep dubstep, and I'm gonna be showing you how to make this bass here in blue. I'm gonna play the demo track and then get into how I made it. So yeah, it took me a while to get all this together, but yeah, I'm really happy with how it turned out. I took inspiration from Surreal's track "Don't Fall Asleep." Bass in that is on point. This one's just a bit more aggressive and changes up a little bit. But yeah, let's dive into this. So what I've got going on here is two layers. I've got my sub and I've got my high frequency. Let's start off with the sub, because it's pretty basic. I'm using Serum instead of Operator. I could use Operator, but I just prefer that the LFO table in here is just really nice for getting those like triplet basses and stuff, like fast envelopes with the LFO in here, because you can't really change the LFO and Operator to you can't change like its phase or where it starts and the shape of it. You can change the shape of it, but not like to this detail. And yeah, so it's just basic sub, the not the sine, but the sort of rounded sine. I don't know, like it just sounds a bit beefier. I've mapped the LFO to that, and basically to make the sub patch, I just copied over the main patch. I would use the preset on where is it, saturator, warm-up lows. Didn't really change much with that, I don't think. I just banded it off so that none of the extra harmonics are coming out over this up. The trick with this bass line to like not get it all clicky and stuff is to add a relatively soft attack on the envelope, and then when you have like your sharp wobbles coming in on your LFO, it won't interact. Every time the note's pressed, it won't like sound like it's starting really harshly, or like slowly move into it. And then now for the meat of the track. So you can hear that this one's totally mono, and this is quite wide. So if I open up this and maybe make it a bit bigger for you because it's quite small. So what I've got going on here is very basic patch. It's just a sine wave modulating another sine wave. So oscillator A is on 0, let's get FM from B, and B's sine wave is an octave up. And then I've added some unison, detuned it, made the blend about 50 so that the middle points, so when it's collapsed to mono, it doesn't lose too much. So you want to have you don't want to have it on like an even number, because then you've got you haven't got something in the center. You've always got something on the left and right channel, but nothing in the center. So you want it on an odd number, and then make sure that the middle point is louder than the side points. And you can see within the patch, so this small one is the sub patch and this one's the higher patch. I've actually made the sub come in sooner on the LFO than I have with this one, and that's what gives it that bubbly sound. If I turn them both on. So by doing that, it gives it that like push-pull effect. I don't know, it sounds really weird, but it's it doesn't really make sense because you normally want things to hit at the same time, but it just has a really nice effect. So yeah, it's the same thing, but just the sub's held longer, whereas this one's just sort of coming in for that really quick, just that really quick minutes. You can get it really tight. That's if I open it up. Sounds quite nice opened up actually. But I'll leave it where it is because yeah. And then the post-processing on that, if I jump back into Serum, I've just added some chorus, really low mix, 10%. Added a notch filter at bandpass filter at 230 Hertz, which is this node in here. So this entire sound comes from the bandpass filter, because if I take off the bandpass, solely this, and I take off all of the EQing, so there's all this extra stuff coming through from the compressor. Turn that off. It's not that interesting, but then you add that in with the high resonance, and then you add the multiband compressor into it with the boosted mids. Yeah, that's what makes the sound. It's the filter going into the compressor that really brings it out. And I just added a plate reverb, quite a large one, quite wet, because this is higher frequencies. Like, it's not subs. The subs are made separate, so there's no. You can go crazy with reverb and chorus and spatial effects and stuff. Just make sure it's all mono compatible at the end of it by throwing a utility on and double checking it's all good. Yeah, sounding nice. So that's it for that patch. Then jumped into EQ8 and just really narrowed up the frequencies. So if I turn these off, so there's quite a lot going on there. So I just kept it at bay. Let's put a saturator on because it's jumping around a lot when I've automated the to create interest in like dubstep and stuff. If you're using a single bass, you need to be automating your like a parameter. So here I'm automating the FM on longer notes, just so it creates some movement, because if it's just static all the time, it's just boring. You either need to add loads of effects or create an instrument and then create changes throughout the drop, like, you know, in other ways, like, what's it called? Structurally, rather than through the sound design. Then, yeah, so I soft clipped it to keep it from clipping when I'm moving the FM, and my glue compressor is just there to catch any peaks and boost it all up and glue it all together. And like, I chose two basses for this because it's the same principle but just using different sounds. So it goes from being like quite a subtle bass to quite a hard one. So I've opened up the bandpass here. It's the exact same patch, but I've just changed the LFO shape slightly so it's a bit more open than the other one, and I added asymmetry plus, and brought that down a bit, so when it's FMing that, it just changes the sound. I've also bumped up another octave, so it opened up the filter and then added another octave, and that's basically it. I changed the sub as well because it wasn't coming through as much, and I wanted this sound to sound more aggressive, so I bumped up the sub like half a dB in the second patch. And that's it, basically, for this tutorial. If you want to learn any more sounds like that I've used in this track, or if you want me to break down the track in general, and like go through all my, you know, why I place effects or how I mix and things like that, let me know. I will be getting onto that at some point, but let me know if you want me to bring it out sooner rather than later. And yeah, peace.